I'll make sure we all speak in English. So with that said, I know you just got out of lunch. Think about this panel as your digestive. So it's a great, great pair for that magnificent lunch that we had over there. And now we're here to enjoy and delight ourselves with wonderful stories of a few founders from Puerto Rico in the healthcare innovation sector. With that said, my name is Hector Jirau. I'm the Executive Director of Parallel 18. Parallel 18 is a global innovation hub and a program of the Puerto Rico Science, Technology, and Research Trust, which seeks to support entrepreneurs from all over the world, from within this wonderful island. And as part of our efforts, we will be leading this wonderful panel titled From Lab to Market, Founder Stories in Healthcare Innovation. Now, I take this panel to heart because I've been in the healthcare sector involved since the last, well, now it's more than a decade. Time flies a lot, and I'm very fast, right? And of course, seeing innovation in this wonderful sector from within the island has been astonishing. Many times, research and development heavy initiatives are not seen as scalable and of fast growth within a limited amount of time. But when you look at the big picture, you understand why. And we're here for that, to understand not only how the sector moves, not only how innovation in healthcare and its industries work. Today, we'll be able to hear from stories from SaaS as a medical device, biotechnology companies, and even learn more about the other related industries. All of innovation being done from within Puerto Rico. Innovation done by Puerto Rican entrepreneurs, but that is not limited to the island. It's also scaling internationally and already nationally. With that said, I would like to invite to our stage our three guest speakers, Dr. José Rodríguez Orengo, the co-founder and CEO at MBQ Pharma, Dr. Ignacio Pino, co-founder and COO at CDI Labs, and Juan Carlos Jimenez, co-founder and CEO of Acurcardia. I would like to provide a short bio, because I could spend all day just speaking about these three guys, because they are amazing entrepreneurs, amazing innovators, but I know we have limited time. So Dr. José Rodríguez Orengo is a professor at the Department of Biochemistry, School of Medicine at the University of Puerto Rico, with over 3 decades of experience in academia and scientific research. He has published over 100 peer-reviewed articles and secured over $150 million in research funding. Dr. Rodríguez Orengo has also had leadership roles such as the Executive Director at the Puerto Rico Institute of Forensic Sciences and Acting Chancellor at the UPR Medical Sciences campus. He currently serves as the CEO of MBQ Pharma, a company dedicated to developing anti-cancer drugs, and recently initiated a phase 1 clinical trial supported by the Department of Defense. He's also a successful entrepreneur with a previous exit at his previous venture called FDI Clinical Research, which was recently acquired by Alcanza Research. Dr. Ignacio Pino is the co-founder and chief operating officer of CDI Labs, where he has been instrumental in developing and commercializing monoclonal antibodies and proteomic tools. Ignacio led CDI Labs as president and CEO, establishing sites in Mayagüez, Puerto Rico, and in Maryland. He has built successful partnerships globally and secured over $11.5 million in grants, including collaborations with Johns Hopkins University and the University of Puerto Rico. Ignacio holds a DVM from Ross University School of Veterinary Medicine and has extensive experience in veterinary consultation and research. Last but not least, Juan Carlos Jimenez is the co-founder and CEO of Acurcardia, an innovative ECG-led diagnostics company. Under his leadership, Acurcardia has achieved FDA clearance for its flagship product, Acur ECG, a cloud-based device diagnostic software for automated ECG interpretation. Before founding Acurcardia, Juan was president of Transita, Puerto Rico's largest non-emergency medical transportation company, and has experience in investment banking with Credit Suisse. He holds an MBA from Columbia Business School and a BBA from the University of Puerto Rico, Rio Piedras. And with that said, I'll take my seat at the Wonderful. So thank you so much for being here. I know you guys pretty much changed your schedule around to make it. Ignacio, thank you for coming all the way from the Mayagüez to San Juan. So all these guys, they deserve an applause. It's not easy taking time as an entrepreneur to actually serve at a panel. So I'm really grateful for that, and I believe it was necessary. It's needed to hear from the voice of the founders in this particular sector, given that Puerto Rico was recently designated as a biotech hub, which means that the United States considers Puerto Rico as one of the most magnificent places to develop and innovate in the biosciences. And here we have 3 wonderful stories that we're gonna deep to get a sense of it. So first of all, and of course I would like to give you guys each 3 minutes so that if I missed something in this bio, you're able to tell us. Try covering a little bit of the problem you guys are addressing, your solution, how the innovation came to be, and any key milestones that you want to highlight. Again, we'll dig deeper into the technology so you can make it as broad as possible. So Juan Carlos, we'll start with you.
Thank you for the invitation. Buenas tardes. Thank you for being here. As you mentioned, I'm Juan Jimenez, co-founder and CEO of AcuCardia. In AcuCardia, we are leveraging ECG as a broad biomarker that can be used in cardiology and beyond. As you mentioned, we obtained our first FDA clearance for AcuECG, which is a Class 2 software as medical device. It uses the signal from clinical ECG devices, and we perform automated interpretation with the purpose of improving patient outcomes in the cardiology space. I decided to join the team that became AcuCardia for a few reasons. One, that still in the 21st century, cardiovascular disease continues to be the leading cause of death in America. More than 700,000 people die each year of cardiovascular diseases. Second, even though the problem is very important, humans are using calipers and manually reviewing ECG data meant for computers to perform. 3, data is being sent overseas for creating cybersecurity risk associated with the healthcare information data and privacy data that we generate here onshore. And finally, there is no better goal in life than saving lives. So therefore, I decided to pursue a career in healthcare before, as you mentioned, I started my career in investment banking. And no offense against bankers, but that's not the same goal as what we are doing now in healthcare, which is saving lives for a purpose. Our first product, AcuECG, is already commercial. We have one customer, which is a company based in North Carolina called Lucem Health. As a company, we have been able to participate in several accelerator programs. One of those is a program launched by Mayo Clinic called Mayo Clinic Platform Accelerate, which is an accelerator program for AI-related companies. More recently, we were accepted by the largest medtech accelerator program called Medtech Innovator. 65 companies were chosen, around 1,400 applicants worldwide to participate in this particular program. And specifically, we were selected for the American Heart Association Heart and Brain Cohort, which is a particular track within Medtech Innovator for companies in the brain or heart space. Currently, we are expanding our commercial traction for our FDA-cleared product. We are increasing research partnerships for our several products in our pipeline. As I'm mentioning, we are leveraging ECG as a broad biomarker. We believe ECG can be used for more than arrhythmia detection, and we already have been proven, and actually it's going to be published in the next 8 weeks, a study done at Texas Heart, which is going to highlight a key biomarker for one disease that we are working at, and it's under embargo, and all the scientists know, but very soon that information is going to be public for review. And beyond that, we have raised around $6 million in private capital. We have applied to several grants that we're expecting results any day this week. And so the NIH is providing feedback on the grants in the next few days. So I'm looking forward for that, and looking forward to meet you all later today and get your questions and share this panel with these wonderful individuals.
Thank you so much. And given that the AI revolution, all these data science and big data prospects are out there, I think you guys are developing this technology at the right moment and the right time. So super excited to learn more during the rest of the panel about what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Dr. Rodriguez Orengo.
Buenas tardes. Juan Carlos mentioned saving lives. By the end of this panel, 7 women will die of advanced breast cancer in the United States. That's why at the university we worked in research in order to find some cures or some biomarkers in order to avoid these deaths. MBQ Pharma is a small biotech pharma that was founded in 2016. There were 4 naive scientists and 1 financial individual that we went and saw some outstanding results, and we decided to move forward in order to create a type of molecule and a type of therapy that could solve this issue. We created then the company, and after that we went through some programs with Guayacan and the Puerto Rico Science Trust. We didn't know what we were doing at that time, but we still moved forward. And after that, we decided that we needed some help in order to get the IND, the permit that the Food and Drug provide us to move forward into clinical trials. We didn't know if that was going to happen or not. So we brought a person that knew about regulatory devices and also drugs from the States, and he became our CEO. And we moved forward, and we raised $2.7 million from friends, fools, and families.
Love the highlight.
With those $2.7 million, we did basically all the studies, that the preclinical studies that we needed to perform to submit for the IND. At the beginning, we were so naive that we decided, or we thought that we could do everything in Puerto Rico. However, the ecosystem was not ready. Thankfully, now we have Hector and Noé that are moving forward in terms of providing these services, again, with the help of the Department of Economic Development and the Molecular Science building. Therefore, eventually, and I see a bright future in the next years, that people that are coming behind us are going to be able to use these facilities here in Puerto Rico. After we submitted the IND, we got approved in 2022. It was the first time in the history of the University of Puerto Rico that a product that was developed, created from the medical sciences campus, came into an IND approval. After that, we submitted a proposal to the DoD, and out of 42 groups, only 2 were awarded, and one was MBQ Pharma. It was one of the happiest days of my life. Because it gave us $4.4 million in order for us to move forward into the clinical development. Right now, we just finished our first cohort, 3 participants, no adverse events. And we are moving forward in the next year in order for us to finish the phase 1 and have that signal that we're expecting to see in this type of individuals in order for us to go and do some partnership with medium and big pharma.
Wonderful, thank you. And by the way, I don't know if you guys read the news this weekend, but Shannon Doherty, the actress, passed away from triple-negative breast cancer, which is precisely what MBQ Pharma is addressing as a therapy. So it's very interesting, particularly the fact that you stated that by the end of this presentation, 7 women will pass away from triple-negative breast cancer. So last but not least, Ignacio, tell us a little bit about CDI
All
Labs
right.
and what you guys do.
I'll do that. So, yes, you heard right. I'm a veterinarian, actually. I still hold my license, although I practice only with friends and family now, because I'm quite busy. But, they keep showing up at my doors. It's impossible to get out of that.
With their pets.
Of course. So my journey started because of my passion, I guess, for how beautiful the immune system is and what it can do. And that's realization gonna happen 15 years ago. And I started thinking how we can harvest this, right? Immune system is the immune system. A veterinarian knows the immune system as good as a scientist, an immunologist, trying to go and find a solution to how to harvest the power of that eventually some people have done in a very tactical way, like, immune checkpoint therapy, right? Nobel Prize winning technologies is about harnessing the power of the immune system. But really understanding the immune system is very complicated. It's not just a few molecules, it's many molecules acting together. Specifically, the antibodies play a key role, which is what we focused on. But it's not just one antibody, it's millions of antibodies circulating that were created by your history or your journal of exposures through life. And those hold not only the answer to some therapies, but also they can be harvested as drugs themselves from people that have actually survived things like breast cancer. They can be looked at as a complex biomarker that is telling you where things are happening. So to me, the immune system is the world's greatest diagnostic, prognostic, and therapeutic. It's the first AI, if you think about it. It's a biological AI learning from life, right? So my quest was, how can we harvest that? And I would say in kind of a serendipitous way, I met people that had the beginnings of what it looked like a good tool for this. It was a collection of proteins that mimic our body, that then you can test against serum, against antibodies that are created, and really try to understand that protein interaction that happens between the antibody, which is a protein, and the proteins that it wants to attack because you really want to attack it, or attack it but it's creating disease like an autoimmunity. So harvesting that and being able to have a lens that you can look at that was our goal. So I created a team together with a group of scientists from Johns Hopkins that had promising technology but needed, dexterous hands, people that can actually make it work. So, because one thing is the idea, one thing is the one-off experiment at the lab in the first paper, but taking that, converting it to an actual product, making it replicable, making it, that people can trust the data that comes out of it. When you have 21,000 data points per patient to analyze, it's a challenge. It took us 15 years. So you gotta have grit, right? You have to have patience in life sciences, especially if you want to build platforms that are gonna transform. So we did that. We convinced everybody that this is, replicable. We did it, first of all, with the help of the trust. I think we're probably the first company that actually the trust helped, early days, 15 years ago. The trust, believe me, it was a borrowed office at Pritco, 2 or 3 people working there, not what Lucy has created now, which is beautiful in its own right. But they did hear us out. We created a good proposal, sound science, solid team. The key things that you need to have a good startup, a good company, and we proposed it to the trust, and the trust trusted us, and gave us that first push. That first push led to data that gets you more. You start submitting grants. You start you name it. Tax credit incentives. You work on those so that then you can reinvest every money you have into creating this platform and get to the point where today we serve, I would like to say, most of the world, at least where heavy science is being done. We have customers in Australia, China, Korea, all over Europe, the US, you name it, all major pharma, a lot of the big academic institutions. We've helped our customers find, mechanism of action on diseases like MS that were undiscovered before. So that lens is working. It's starting to produce. We're growing. We're basically a combination of a tools company that teaches our users how to use these tools that are novel. But we also run the experiments if you don't have the time. So we're a CRO and a tool company in one. We're very excited at the point that we are, and we're growing 50% per year. The adoption rate, obviously, is strong. Recent paper, transformational information about how long COVID turns out, is your immune system. It's attacking some of your own proteins. We're helping people find that out. So that's what we do, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit more about that. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I want to leverage your own closing statement, because you did mention something very important. You took that step from taking it from the lab to the market, which is the title of this panel. Now, I've seen a lot of familiar faces and many entrepreneurs here, so I want to focus our next conversation. And again, we can make this informal. This is not a test. We don't have to go each. You guys can hop in, and we can have a great conversation. And my first question or topic would be, life sciences is something that you don't necessarily become an entrepreneur today and you see the results tomorrow, compared to more scalable and fast growth industries like e-commerce or easily to develop platforms using either no-code extensions or even highly deployable assets. Life sciences takes time. It's research and development intensive and requires a lot of funding. So to begin with, and we can consider this a rapid question, no need for a lengthy answer, what tips would you give entrepreneurs here who are becoming or in the process of deciding whether to become or not life sciences entrepreneur on starting their businesses? And we can kick off with Juan Carlos.
So I think I agree, but disagree with your statement.
I love it.
So
bring it.
I want to be controversial, so we could spice things up a little bit here. Life sciences is long, requires a lot of experimentation, R&D, validation, because at the end it's going to impact humans. But we can apply certain concepts and practices from the traditional tech or the traditional entrepreneur world into life sciences. And I think it's one that I repeat all the time, is that feedback, either regulatory feedback, scientific community feedback, potential customer feedback, must be obtained throughout the journey of the process. It doesn't matter how great the science may be, if there is no significant product market potential, that particular tool, technique, or IP is worthless, because if you can monetize it, it's worth zero. At the end, the value of something is the present value of the future cash flow. And in life sciences, the same. So we must apply some of those concepts to life sciences, and yes, it's going to take longer. We cannot have an MVP in 60 to 90 days and take to market as others has products, but we can apply certain features or practices from that side of the ecosystem to our side, so we can improve and learn from those.
Yeah, in Puerto Rico is a nascent ecosystem
Yeah.
in terms of life sciences and biotech. So for us, in order to get mentorship was kind of difficult at the time. But nowadays, it could be even much easier. So for those of you that are out there looking for providing services or creating new products, please look for mentors that could help you, or investors that have the knowledge in the arena or the area that you are working with. That's something that we needed at that time. With time, we got that type of information that Juan Carlos mentioned, and the dialogue among scientists, among investors, because you need to understand as a life scientist that people like Juan Carlos, when they come to sit with you, they have read basically all your articles, they have gone through all the type of business-wise, how is this molecule or this product is going to impact in 5 or 10 years the market, so you need to be prepared. And that's the way that you need to think of. And another type of tip or advice is that if you are going into this, cannot be part-time. You need to go full-blown and look and check for investments so you can finance yourself and your team in order to put 100% into the product that you are developing.
Love it. So Ignacio, you have been, how long has CDI been in business?
We've been in business about 15 years now.
So 15 years.
Yeah.
Jose mentioned something very interesting, and also leveraging what Juan Carlos said, that mentorship and guidance is essential for that. Now, being 15 years back, and I know that in Puerto Rico, life sciences entrepreneurship, it's not something that 15 years ago you would find at every road, right? It was extremely difficult.
You're seeing the father of entrepreneurship and biotech here in Puerto
There we
Rico.
go. Like I said, we were going to bring the best assets here. So Ignacio, tell us a little bit about how the difference with if mentorship was available back then, if there have been any changes.
Yeah, I would like to say there was some mentorship. I mean, it wasn't as organized probably as it's today, but part of the entrepreneur's job is to find it, right? I mean, there's no excuse on that. Now it's better, it's easier. But I found mentors at the trust. When it was, you had to find where the trust was. Now it's everywhere, right? That's great. But it was there, right? So it's just, the entrepreneur needs to be, 24/7, only the paranoid survive type of attitude, especially the more complex you're trying to build something, right? Back then, or at least in the field that we're at, it's all about, hard work at the bench, molecules being made in the thousands. They all need to be, QC'd. I mean, it's very complex versus, what can now be made with that information that is more like in the, let's say, computational, that could be faster. So life sciences has spanned, right? So now you can go to parallel flow software, BioLeap, it's kind of in the middle there, right? Can help you between the SaaS side, the software as a device, and the life science aspects of a classic approach, like, a drug and that, tortuous approach. So, but definitely, I mean, there's always been mentors in Puerto Rico. I cannot say they were not here. We're very organized now as an ecosystem, but it's always the job of the entrepreneur. Nobody's going to come to your door and, it's going to come in an Amazon box kit. No, you got to find your resources.
And Ignacio, you mentioned that you partner with people from Hopkins, right? That you found resources anywhere you wanted to.
Yeah, leveraging
Correct.
basically regional assets.
If the technology wasn't here or the expertise, we brought the person here, we taught the people here. Now that stays here and it's here for the next level, right? So
I think at times we forget that we have all this access in the U.S. and mainland that we can actually just approach, and we at times feel as if we were stuck in a different type of limit, or let's say limited by our own geography, which is not real. You can actually access all those collaborations that I know the three of you have actually done. And just like you mentioned, Ignacio, in Puerto Rico, nowadays we are more organized. You got amazing organizations like the Trust, we got Grupo Guayacán, we got Endeavor, and our team at Pearl 18, which, by the way, since we integrated BioLeap, I've seen the team doing amazing at incorporating all these knowledge in the biomedical sciences, which I know it's not easy. But again, you start learning about it, you start seeing that there are similarities on being an entrepreneur in the semiconductors industry, just like in the life sciences.
I want to add about the Guayacán, which you mentioned. Actually, I was honored to be one of the first receivers of the first prize of the enterprise competition. All right, so
there we go.
So,
let's highlight that.
So that was there. I used that. I also applied for a fellowship they provided back then to go to MIT and get
you
like a
pitched
crash
at the White
course.
House, didn't you?
Right. I mean, you gotta. I mean, the things are there. They're even more accessible now with all these platforms and everything. The competition's getting fearless, right? So it goes. It's a balance, right? You get more resources, but there's more competition. But I mean, at the end, it's about believing in your concept, believing in yourself. As scientists, right? We see the result. If you see a crappy result, don't go after it, right? I mean, stop right there. It was a great idea, but
objective, right?
Fail fast, right? But if you see things that are amazing and you're finding, how a disease that wasn't known, how it even starts, then that's you're on the right track,
Gotcha.
right? Yeah.
Gotcha. So I want to touch on a point that I know is very sensitive for scientists in the entrepreneurial side, which is fundraising. And I know that you guys are very, very good fundraisers, but I know that that's a process that every entrepreneur at its time must undergo through, but not necessarily loves it. So life sciences, again, it's an industry that it's R&D heavy, which means sitting with investors could either go two ways, either not enough data because it takes time, and you need to leverage what you already have, and having them and set their expectations back that, hey, this will take time. You won't see results maybe in 3 to 5 years. Could be earlier if you get a breakthrough or something, positive, so positive happens that you can actually scale the business fast. But it could go the other way around. Spend 7, 10 years with no product in hand. What has been your experience in fundraising as Puerto Rican entrepreneurs, but also as entrepreneurs that have leveraged regional assets both in Puerto Rico, but also in mainland United States? And Jose, we go first with you and then we hop in between the rest. Mm-hmm.
Well, my case is that at the beginning I wasn't the CEO. I came basically by chance, the CEO of MBQ Pharma, because we needed somebody that needed to move this forward. And at the beginning, what I did was basically having the pitch deck and going through the motions of providing the information to the individuals. And at that time, there was huge risks. I mean, there was something that we have just a molecule that some data regarding the inhibition of total metastasis in triple negative breast cancer, and there was no toxicity. That was it. And to move that forward was very difficult. However, there were in Puerto Rico individuals that trusted not just the science, but our career that we have been doing for the past a long time. I calculated that I have been doing research 70% of my life.
Wow.
So they trusted the team that we were doing because the risk was quite high. And after we started getting information, people continued trusting us. And once we got the IND, we got a tenfold valuation increase. So it was from 6 million, it was going to be 120 million, but we cut it in half to 60 million. That's the price that we have at this time. Convertible notes for those of you that want to invest in MBQ Pharma. And also, we provided more data and continuing producing in the lab more information. We gave animals up to 2,000 milligrams per kilo. That's basically, if you take your weight, maybe it's 75 kilos, so you have a lot of drug that you need to take. And there was no toxicity. That was a breakthrough for us also. Because we went for the animal models, we had 3 of them, and in all 3 we didn't see any toxicity. So that created trust also in other investors. In addition to that, we just recently found out that this molecule crosses the blood-brain barrier. And as many of you know, breast cancer, when it metastasizes, goes to the brain. Therefore, it could be an additional advantage that we have for MBQ Pharma. And in addition now, we have another drug that can be used for brain cancer.
And I love the fact that you stated something that I repeat a lot to founders and entrepreneurs, which is when you are at an early stage, the founding team, that's where the core and most important thing is for an investor. And bridging that, I want to enter with Juan, because it's highly unusual to have a life sciences company, but it's being led by an investment banker, right? And I want to see how it's former. I always forget. It's a former investment banker.
After that, I did other stuff.
So, how do you leverage the knowledge that you acquire during your investment banking days and now being the CEO of a life sciences company, which is what you is? I know there's a huge technology component, but it's in the life sciences. So, what has been your experience and what learnings have you taken from that?
Most important is attention to detail and working hard. If you have in your DNA work 100, 120 hours a week, and with the significant attention to detail, you can do great in many industries. Not only life sciences, could be any, because I think work ethic and attention to detail and doing good on whatever you're doing is essential for any success in any field. But as I said, for me was important the social aspect of what I do in life. And that's something that I decided to do 10, 15 years ago, that I was going to do only, well, I'm building value, I want to create profit, but only if it has a social component, and saving lives is what drives me every day. So, but in terms of fundraising, I like to say a few things. One is always relative. You may say that I'm being successful, but always I compare myself to other people, and always I fall myself short. So always that drive of doing better is important in fundraising. Second, all fundraising is personal. When an investor tells you they won't invest, it's not your business, it's you. So when they say, don't take it personal, it is personal. It has to be personal for a fundraiser. Because at the end, 99% of the investment decision by investors is on a personal level. That's why investors tend to invest in the same kind of people. That's why 35% of all capital goes to companies in the Bay Area. That's why most of the capital goes to the same founders from the same type of backgrounds. And us, as being non-traditional founders, it's also challenging. And you have to build, Jose mentioned, value inflection points in the company. Always determine what are those value inflection points, look at those, and work in a plan that you can continuously achieve those value inflection points, that you can get more interest from the potential investors, so they come and value your company well, so you can raise capital to fight for another day. And at the end, that's what I believe it has worked for AcuCardia.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah,
So
I will take the fight for the other day.
That's the life of an entrepreneur.
That's true.
So if we summarize, it's kind of like reach milestones, right? And then, as you heard, he's a banker that learned life science. Life science that had to learn what a convertible note or a safe or any other instrument in the world is, right? So you have to, there's some things you're going to have to teach yourself. So you have to be hungry for knowledge, right? And be this constant student and be devouring information where you're lacking it, or finding mentors, or combining both. But it's all about reaching your goals, showing progress, and doing it with, you don't want to get a ton of money for something that is going to cost you half of that, because you don't need that other money you need it later when you're going to be valued more, right? So be very careful about that as you build your story and get as much as you need. There's times when if things are going to come in that you foresee that not in your business but in, let's say, the economy or whatever, it may make sense to take the money now. But in general, just take as much as you need. Cash is king. At the moment you can convert to revenue. I mean, some businesses like the service or subscription or on our sales services and sales of research products can reach that point faster than, for example, a drug that needs to go through a very tough regulatory component. So you're going to be weighed by the investors, by the type of business you have. If you have a business that can generate revenue, they're going to start looking at that. How good are you at doing that? How profitable are you by generating that revenue? Is that revenue all going is with a 10% margin, a 70% margin? So you got to know then who to talk to so that they understand what you're talking. If I go pitch to a drug investing VC, they're not going to care. It's not in their wheelhouse, right? They're going to pass. So you got to also not shoot yourself in the foot in that sense.
It's very important to understand that. 'Cause you mentioned an extremely important point that not many founders understand, is that venture capitalists and any investment firm in the private equity industry, they have specific mandates. And if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. There's no way around it. And at times, it's not necessarily that the investor or the stakeholder is not interested in the technology that you're developing, but rather that you're approaching the wrong person. If you want to raise capital for a drug development company, you need to target biotech investors that align not only with the drug development component, but also in the industry, the sector, the type of disease, and at times the niche that you're addressing. The same goes for Juan Carlos, and I'm very, very sure the same goes for you, Ignacio. And to wrap it up, because I know I want to open it for questions so that you guys have enough time to address our founders on stage. If I were to request from each of you, and I'll start with you, Ignacio, one closing remark of what, in your experience as a healthcare entrepreneur, within all these years, you would select for younger entrepreneurs out there, what would that be?
I mean, I think no matter in which section of life sciences, I think you're going to encounter things that you were not expecting. So having grit, right? And the stamina to continue despite the challenges and just dust off and keep going, believe in yourself. So I think grit, at least in the research tools and diagnostic space, is critical because it's a long path, it's a marathon, but you want to. So I would say grit is the number one.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I would say that you need to learn to negotiate. Because once you are in front of individuals that want your business, you need to be able to negotiate for the benefit of your shareholders. Have that in mind all the time, that people trusted you with their money and they want you to succeed in order to get a return. And also be creative. I mean, there's barriers that are going to come from everywhere. And you need to be creative in order to surpass each barrier at the same time or one at a time. Doesn't matter. So in Puerto Rico, since Maria is resilience, I would say perseverance is the one that you want to have. You need to go and continue every day, one day after the other. And you need to be consistent in what you're doing and put a lot of effort on this entrepreneurship business that you are going to create.
Wonderful. Juan, final thoughts, closing remark.
Patience. As we have pointed out, the complexities of anything in healthcare requires patience. So hard work, flexibility, creativity, but all that together with patience is important. So you can have the what is required to take something from lab to the market safely.
Wonderful. So I see patience, grit, resilience, perseverance, all components I think that not only applies to life sciences entrepreneurs, but I say to any entrepreneur in general, right? Being an entrepreneur is not easy, and particularly when you are, launching yourself out there. And I think that's something you guys, the three of you, have done successfully. All three of you
I
dedicated
don't know
your time
about
to this.
successfully, but at least we're trying to move this further in Puerto Rico in order for others that are coming behind us that they will have a path.
In our healthcare sector, you guys have been successful, and we recognize that, and that's why you're here on this stage.
Like Juan said, right? It's like that self-criticism that people tell me, "Oh, I'm just starting. I mean, I feel so behind, all the time." And that's good, right? Like you're always wanting to. You think you're never there. If you lose that, I think you get left in the dust, in my opinion.
And Jonathan, in the remarks this morning, he mentioned that we need adultos mayores, senior citizens in the entrepreneurship. So you have one.
Actually, I did the math, and he said 70% of the time in the lab. So he started at 5.
I don't have proof, but I don't have doubts either. So wonderful. Thank you so much, guys. I want to open for questions because I know there are several entrepreneurs here. It's not every day that you get 3 magnificent life sciences entrepreneurs here in front of you. So any questions that you may have to address? Yes, over here.
Hi, I'm Debbie. I'm a founder, but also run an accelerator and I'm an investor. And so when you're looking at partnering with organizations in the mainland, what are you looking for? Because I run an accelerator that looks at healthcare companies as well. And so we're trying to figure out how do we recruit, what are you looking for, at what stage are you looking for help, and just a better idea of how you look to partner with those in the mainland.
Well, I'll take that one because we started with the partnership from day one, right? We brought the technology very early stage to Puerto Rico. So a source of technology could be, right? I mean, a source of talent that you may need to complete your team. So I think borders need to start blurring a little bit, and it's really about. I mean, in our community or CDI today, it's 38 people. Looks like the United Nations right now, right? I mean, it's wherever the talent is, whoever it is. Obviously, there's a strong component in Puerto Rico. That's where we started, but. These are global problems we're solving, global markets. We want to grow global businesses. So having that global mentality and going seeking that, obviously in the mainland is for us, the U.S. is a no-brainer, right? Great rapport, great history of partnerships. So, and it's easier than people think, especially in the U.S. Most universities have very well, set up systems to do these partnerships fast. And now we have the trust helping people like on the island, right? Have that counterpart to do those. So I think, it could be resource, talent, technology, or services. Some things we do things in Canada right now because it's better to do it there economically or for many reasons. Yeah.
In my case, it's a bit different from Nacho. Is that we need to understand where's the market at this time, who are the players in oncology, what are they developing, and see if our product that is first in class. So I did mention that, but it's a first in class product. So it could be used in combination with one of their products, or it could be used alone. So we are looking at different pharmaceutical companies that they do partnership or invest in first-class drugs. And that's where we are heading in the next months. And once we have the signal, that means that the metastasis stops, or we see a decline in the slope of the metastasis, or even if we see some reduction or stopping of the tumors, that could provide us another milestone. And there we are going to be, hopefully, unicorn of Puerto Rico.
So in terms of accelerator programs, depending on the stage, I think one is what is being asked for. In terms of some accelerator asks certain amount of equity in return, assuming that the expectation of the accelerator program are reasonable for the stage of the company. At least for us, the first one that we participated with Mayo Clinic was about data. They gave us access to 5 years of longitudinal data for research and validation. So for us, that was important to get access to that data so we can perform validation for some of our products in the pipeline. The one that we are currently now, medtech innovator, is important for brand recognition as well as commercialization efforts. I think in the future, I think we would like to participate or get involved in research-oriented or that can open us access to more research opportunity as well as more diverse population pools to help us diversify some of the data that we have obtained before.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for the questions. Yes?
I have a question. It's regarding, you all presented very innovative and assertive projects, very ambitious. So have you faced any resistance from the big pharma or players within the system, other stakeholders?
Not really. I mean, at least on our case, I mean, initially, obviously, our data was complex and needed, you go through the early adopters, the people that get it immediately, so forth. But resistance, not really. I mean, we get customers from them these days, but we have not felt any pushback or disallowance of us, shining out. And they need the help. They go out for companies like us for new drugs, new ways to find the biomarkers, new ways of personalizing medicine. So we're part of their plan.
Yeah, remember that they are also reducing their discovery teams in pharmaceutical companies. So they're more into acquiring small companies, and we have seen this the past 2 or 3 years where they have been acquiring plenty of small companies. Hopefully one day will be ours, but there we haven't seen any difficulties with pharmaceuticals. We are talking with them, and they give us advice and where to go and give us some tips. So not at this time.
In my case, no resistance from pharma or med devices. When I founded the company 5 years ago, there was certain resistance or hesitation for certain segments of the healthcare industry about using AI for certain analysis. That resistance is fading, and one job of me as an entrepreneur and founder is to help alleviate those concerns and efforts to help educate the market to understand these technologies and how it can help the population that we're serving.
That's a great question, particularly with all the issues in IRA and funding for the United States. It's important to understand as well that many of these pharmas, they have, I think, learned not to push and give pushbacks to these companies, but maybe actually partner with them and I think it would be even cheaper, right, to actually acquire you rather than doing their own R&D nowadays. Well, but then again, inflation changed everything, so yes.
Because of this, like a personal things, because people prefer some type of founder with fiery eyes who could talk more like from the stage, how to make it more impersonal but more fair.
The finance guy.
No, I mean,
He's the one that can answer
No,
that.
I think it all starts about the decision about the entities managing the funds allocated to the VCs. If the LPs, the pension funds, the endowments, the family offices, the rich people don't push that down, things it's going to be a self-fulfilling process. It's going to continue the same way it has been done. You mentioned that about female entrepreneurs. You mentioned that about black founders, Latinos. There was some improvement were made 2 or 3 years ago, but the last 2 years, when we have been seeing a market that is not ideal, you have seen representation of founders of non-traditional sources to drop. And I think if it has to come from the limited partners investing in those funds so they can improve that diversity and democratization of. But at the end, investing and any other is a reflection of the society we live in, and sometimes it's impossible to make change, but we can make some progress by being more active where the money is coming from.
I would say you also are aware of that, right? So you try to make progress with, I found incredible amount of support locally. So, I mean, we've been lucky that we've generated revenue from very early, so that helps slow the burn, so the need for cash, right? We've been lucky not lucky, it's been planned, right? I'd say lucky because in a way there's always luck around, but we've been good at grant writing, non-dilutive, so you use that. But we found a great group of investors here that have supported us, right? Angels or even family offices, and now there's funds being put together at the moment. So you go to your people first, the people that know the pain a little bit, and then you come to a point where you've created something that is irrefutably good. Nobody can say that goes away at that point. So you got to get there. And then you got to leverage and navigate and use all your tricks in your hat to get there.
Hector, how many VCs we have in Puerto Rico that are investing in life science?
Yes. I think among the stakeholders, the Puerto Rico Science Trust is among the few that invest in healthcare here. I think there's the appetite though, but in terms of institutional investors are investing in heavy R&D facilities in Puerto Rico, I cannot recall any. There are a few private equity firms that invest in more traditional healthcare developments and healthcare innovation. There are those, but that can actually take the appetite of risk for a biotech company, individuals and angel investors.
So there's opportunity there.
There's a lot of opportunity. Anybody who wants to become an angel investor, we have a wonderful workshop happening this afternoon, so be sure to go over there and support these local founders, because there is a need of capital. There is a need of access to that capital, because the innovation is here. And I know all of my colleagues and stakeholders, Grupo Guayacán, Endeavor, Pearl 18, the whole Puerto Rico Science Trust knows about this. And we're working on it. We're working on making the ecosystem and growing and scaling it to become more approachable for the life sciences and for all the industries in general. Thank you so much for a great question. So
I just want a last comment. In terms of the conference itself that says that this is the road to 2035, I see that we're going to strive and we're going to do much more with the products that all the PRST, Guayacán, and all others are doing here in Puerto Rico. And hopefully these 3 companies and some others that are moving forward that take in the clock to create even more opportunities to young individuals and even senior citizens like myself.
wonderful. So thank you so much for the 3 of you for being here, for saying yes, and for sharing all that wonderful information with all guests. A round of applause for our guest speakers here. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Make sure to catch them outside, and anything you may need, Pearl 18, the Puerto Rico Science Trust, we are here for you. Thank you so much.